You might have noticed something pretty massive on screen for the past few weeks on this channel. I know, I've been working out. Look at the size of these guns. Baby! Nah, I'm just kidding. It's actually that monster in the corner. That is the Apexmaker X1. As far as I'm aware, is the largest mono LCD printer on the market, rocking a 16-inch screen at 8K resolution with a pixel size of 46 microns. This was kindly sent to me, and this video was kindly sponsored by the makers of Apexmaker with Global One Click. Whilst this isn't a review, it is a paid overview, so please consider that whilst watching the rest of this video. This printer is absolutely huge. It is rocking a 353 by 198 by 400 millimeter print volume. It is absolutely massive. This is not your, I want a resin printer, so I'm going to get this one type of deal. This is, I print loads and I want to print even more, or I want to print massive things in one go, and we're going to be doing that today. This printer comes shipped with a pre-leveled build plate, which is also something I've not seen before. A bunch of really top-notch features. This is literally the Bentley of 3D printing when it comes to LCD 3D printing off the shelf. It has every feature that you could possibly want. It has, as I mentioned, a pre-leveled build plate. It has automatic resin refill via this valve and pipe from the back. You attach one of the bottles and it feeds resin with a peristaltic pump, as far as I can tell. Speaking of filling that resin, it holds like 3 liters, if not more, of resin, and it is a heated vat, so you can have the temperature of the resin stable at around 60 degrees I've been running it at, and it just makes printing so much more consistent. I've had hardly any fails with this machine. It also comes with a built-in air filter, so it's going to take all those fumes and dump them out the back through a filter, which is really nice. It comes with its own IP camera, which connects to your phone via Wi-Fi, so you can log into the printer and actually keep an eye on what's actually happening. It also has power loss protection, so if you have a power cut, you run out of electricity or whatever, and this printer is printing, it'll be able to pick up where it's left off after you get the power restored, which is, again, normal on FDM printers, but it's not something I've seen on resin or SLA printers. It has a 7-inch full-color touchscreen LCD to control the machine with a bunch of features available. And most importantly, right above that, it has a progress bar. A progress bar to tell you how far through it is the print, which is just like, mwah, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. Finally, it boasts that it can print at 180 millimeters per hour, and there's yeah. Obviously, I've printed a lot in my time. Most recently, I printed this Bowser on an Elegoo Saturn, and I actually printed it in 2 halves. And this took around 3 or 4 hours per half. So, and we did some resin welding together. This printed in 4 hours. 4 hours! It's bigger than my head. Like, I can't state how impressed I am with this machine because it prints massive, it prints huge, and it prints fast. It's doing an average layer time of about 1 second on the high-speed print, and the motors are insanely quick. Again, you can turn things around very quickly. This isn't my first resin printer, but if you are an experienced resin printer, you'll know the frustration of fails happening and waiting hours to find out something has failed, where the heated vat on the resin is going to make your printer way more consistent, and you're going to be able to print bloody fast. It stands 16 inches tall from toe to fingertip. It is absolutely massive. It was included on the card. This was the test file, by the way. Test file. This is obviously Thanos. It is huge. It is a monster. This actually takes up most of the build volume, but there's actually some available. And it's so big, I really struggle to wash it in my wash station. So if you are thinking about backing this printer that's on Kickstarter right now, I'd recommend picking up the wash and cure station as well, because, yeah, I've had a bit of trouble trying to cure this. However, obviously, tall is great, but if you're going to buy a machine like this, you want to be able to print loads all at the same time. So let's print a bunch of miniatures on this to see what a massive printer can do with tiny miniatures. And for the miniatures, I'm going to be using this Wargaming resin by Yes, That's 3D Printer. They did send this for free as well, so I'll leave a link to that down in the description. So it looks like they printed pretty well. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking very good. Oh, there's actually a fail right at the front. I think everything that's on the base has printed okay, but I don't know what's actually failed, so I'll have to double check. Start with this very tiny base. Of course it missed. So first off, we've got the Knight from Galad Miniatures. Now this is a really cool Knight, as you can see. I really like the look of this one. It's just a classic Knight, you know, it's just a classic Dark Souls Knight. We love a bit of Dark Souls. We've been playing loads of Lies of P recently, and I saw this guy and I was like, you know what, I'm in. I want that guy. And obviously I couldn't print some miniatures without printing some sort of sci-fi miniatures, so we have another Knight of Space Crusade version. And he's really nice. He's a really chunky miniature on like a 40 odd mil base. He looks fire. Again, the candles on the base. The supports, I've done a little bit of sanded on his base because the supports are along the cape, but they were so easy to take off just with like a nail file like I normally would. And yeah, these come out so sick, so nice. I'm really impressed with the quality and just everything just looks great. Printed really quickly, looks really nice. So, and then I just went down a rabbit hole. I went down an absolute rabbit hole, and I just couldn't get away from Dark Souls. I just honestly couldn't get away. So I had to print this Bite the Bullet Lord of the Storm. Obviously, you know who this guy is. And this one came out just beautifully, as you can see. The resin is, like, even though it's only an 8K printer, the resin and the printer itself has managed to capture the details on these minis so nice. I'm so chuffed with them. The detail on them is great. They printed so quick. The entire plate took like 3.5 hours. So keeping on the same theme, now we have Morgana the Scarlet Goddess. And here she is. She's looking fire. She was in like 4 different bits, like the cape and the sword was separate, and then the base, and then the main body. She actually printed upside down, which is quite interesting, and it's actually made it really nice. It means all the support material is really hidden well within the hair and stuff, but she is just gorgeous. So nice. And obviously to fight them we needed a boss, and now we have the Faceless King. Now this is a boss of bosses. You can see he is a monster compared to these guys, as you can see. And with all these characters with this, we needed a boss, but his arm failed, so I'm actually going to reprint it on the printer, but this time in fast speed, and this is going to take 30 minutes to print his arm and the rest of the basing pieces. So wish me luck. And there he is. Look at him. He's huge. And the arm was printed in like 45 minutes. That's going to be the problem with printing now. I can print something in 45 minutes in high quality resin, but I've then got to deal with it 40 minutes later. So it was sat in the printer for 2 days. But he looks amazing with all of the extra bits, all the terrain pieces that all come with him. He looks amazing. He's so good. Again, the Faceless King by Witchsong. He's great. However, you could print this on a medium-sized machine. So it's time to print something much bigger. Whilst I was scrolling on Instagram, my good friend Dave from Exeter Cosplay popped up with some of his cosplay, and then it twigged and I was like, I could print a helmet in resin. And I spoke to Dave, and he said it's a really bad idea because it'd be really heavy. However, I was like, I don't know, I don't care, it'd be cool. I'm not planning on wearing it all the time, but it will look cool on a shelf. And then I posted the build plate when I did receive the printer on Instagram. And the most common answer to print on this was a giant head of mine, a replica head. And then I realized I have a life-size STL of my head already. So I could use the STL of my head from the previous video to size up the helmet for this video. So thankfully, I used the STL of my own head to size up this helmet to make sure it's going to be big enough so my beard didn't pop out the bottom. And this is how it went. So here it is, the first test of the base plate. I think it's a pretty good size. Maybe I think too big, but I'd rather it too big than too little, because if I have it too little, it'll be end up sitting here. But it's a really nice print, and it printed in an hour 40. Like, for something this size to print that quick is actually really insane. The only problem is, as you can see, there's been some layer splits. Now, I could repair these. The thing is with it is I've got to print another one, and I think like this section is actually solid, and I didn't realize. I kind of just YOLO'd it to kind of just get like a feel of the size. I wanted quite a large piece to know if I was going to print the correct size before I went off and printed more. But knowing that, I think this is a good thickness. I don't care about hollowing this section, but this bit, that is one lump of resin. I think rather than printing it this way, I'm going to print it this way, so all the supports are along one side and the inside, so I'll probably print it at more of an angle like this. And I'm going to try and hollow this section out, because then at least if that fails, that's the first bit to fail, rather than getting halfway and then this solid lump of resin not being able to print. So half a kilogram wasted, 20 quid of resin wasted, so wish me luck. By turning it 90 degree, it made the print a lot longer, but it meant all the supports are on the inside, and as you can see, it just printed perfectly. It's actually beautiful. It's here. It's huge. Look at it. It's pristine. It's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. So this one took a little bit longer than the other one, obviously. The other one took like 4 hours. This one was closer to like 15. However, there are zero like mishaps in the... There's no like tearing. There's a little bit of support removal here that we're going to be able to file out really easily. It's really, really nice. Obviously, like, it's huge and it's smooth. It's just really smooth. And even like 15 hours for something this tall in the print bed is really quick, in my opinion. For something that's like upright like this, it is very, very quick compared to other machines. The heated vat and the speed of the motors just makes printing just so fast. I am so blown away by look at it. Right, without further ado, I've got to do the other side now so I can do the thing, you know, it's going to be great. So once I got it all printed, it was time for a little bit of sanding. So I filed it and sanded it with sandpaper, just like a cheap mix pack from like B&Q or something. I start with like 80 grit and work my way up to 180, but I'm basically using it to file off all the support material, all the residue from the supports, and also like some of the aliasing, because obviously this is such a large print. So the aliasing is quite obvious, but it literally takes like minutes to sand. However, do be careful. It is resin. I am wearing a mask while I'm doing this. I've also got my hoover next to me. I'm hoovering up every 2 seconds. Do not breathe in resin dust. Please wear protection. It is very, very bad for your lungs. But once I'd sanded it, I used UV resin, just like stuff that you can buy from Amazon, but you can just use 3D printer resin. We've done this before. I'm using UV resin to weld the mask together, and I'm using a floodlight to make sure it really cures together. And then once it's dry, I'll give it another layer and I'll give it another cure just so it's got plenty to grab. And then it's just a bit more sanding, you know, it's just like sanding away. I've got the top section of the helmet. I'm doing the exact same thing. So I've printed it in 4 parts, and I'm just using the resin, the UV resin, to tack it together. And then I'm going through, I'm like spreading it on with the side of the blade and then curing it with the floodlight. And then once it's done, a big sand again, resin dust, please be careful. A big sand, and then smooth out the lines so you can't see them anymore. And as I'm sanding, I'm increasing the grit. I'm lowering the coarseness. I'm sanding it, making it smooth, basically. The higher the grit, the smoother finish you're going to get. And this only took about 30 to 40 minutes of sanding. That was it. Let's go, baby. Rise, brothers. It's done. Kind of. The helmet's done, as you can see. Now, there's no back piece yet. However, look how cool it looks. It looks amazing. It's so good. I do need to print the back, but I wanted to get this video out to show you that you can print anything. You can do anything you want. No one can stop you. And this is a full helmet printed. As I said, the designer is in the description. It's from Cults 3D. It was like 3 quid, I think, the file, which is severely under cost, so please up your price. But here it is, my very own homemade 3D printed in resin Primaris Intercessor helmet, which is so sick. Now, yeah, I know, again, I'm gonna have to finish it. I know, But I just wanted to show you just where we've got to today with this. It's so heavy. Guys, it's so heavy. Also, this costs like 5 bottles of resin, which is very not cost effective. So, yeah, this wasn't a good idea. But I just wanted to show just the capability of that monster in the corner and just how big you can print. As I said, it's like 2 sections down the middle, and then this is another section. Yeah, should I finish this for a video? Should I finish it? I want to put it in the shell. I want to paint it. I think I want to paint it like an ultramarine. I know, cringe. But I've already got a Blood Raven one, so I thought a blue one would be cool as on the opposite side. But I couldn't have done it without Apexmaker and Global One Click supporting this video and sponsoring it. So thank you so much to them. Do be aware that this is not a review. This is just me having a look at the printer and showing it off to you and telling you some interesting things about it. It's more of a sales pitch rather than a review. However, this printer is available on Kickstarter right now. There is a link down in the description that you can go and have a look. It is fully funded, but it is a Kickstarter, so do your due diligence. That was a lot of do's there. It is still a Kickstarter, so make sure you do some research. But it is fully funded, so it is looking pretty good. But yeah, what shall I do with it now? Shall I finish it? Shall I just leave it like this? As like, oh, that was a thing that Mikey did that one time. Shall we paint it up in a video? I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you to Apexmaker and Global One Click for sponsoring the video. And thank you to you guys for supporting the channel by becoming a member. If you like the content that you see, that helps keep the light on. And yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation going. And otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!